300 million jobs. Every single one is exposed. That's the number Goldman Sachs published in 2023. And every month since, the line on that chart has bent the wrong way. 300 million full-time jobs globally exposed to automation by generative AI. 2/3 of every job in the United States and Europe touched in some way. And for the jobs that get hit, it's not a little haircut, it's a quarter to half of the work gone. McKinsey says 12 million Americans are going to change occupations by 2030 because of this. Not might, will. Paralegals, copywriters, accountants, coders, customer service reps, tax preparers, financial analysts, anyone whose job is moving information around a screen is in the blast radius. I'm going to say something that's going to sound insane, and then I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes proving it to you. While half the white-collar economy figures out whether it still has a job in 3 years, there is a $100 billion a year American industry that AI cannot touch. It doesn't care who the president is. It didn't blink during COVID. It grew through 2008, and the customer paying the invoice isn't some consumer chasing a discount. It's a $1 trillion insurance carrier, wiring the money the minute the work is verified. I'm Scott Ferrari, founder of the franchise Whisperer, 17 years, over 1,000 placements, corporate refugees, military, salespeople watching the comp plan shrink. I sit with them and I sell. Exclusive. That's the job. I consult, so we both know if you belong in this system. Then I put the right person in. I have no idea this exists. The property restoration and reconstruction economy in the United States, water damage, fire damage, mold remediation, and the reconstruction that follows those disasters moves roughly $100 billion in insurance claims a year. It supports more than 168,000 operators across 50,000 mostly independent firms. And it grows every year that climate change drives more billion-dollar disasters. NOAA logged 27 separate billion-dollar disasters in the United States in 2024 alone, totaling $182.7 billion in damage in a single calendar year. These are publicly published defensible numbers. For perspective, that's bigger than Hollywood. It's bigger than the entire US music industry. It's bigger than professional sports. And yet, ask 10 people at a cocktail party to name one restoration company, and 8 of them will give you a blank stare. Maybe one will mumble the name of the van they saw parked in a neighbor's driveway last winter. That's the tell. The bigger the industry and the quieter the public chatter, the more money is flowing through quiet, established channels to operators who don't have to compete on billboards. They don't need a Super Bowl ad. They need a phone that rings at 2 in the morning. So why haven't you heard of it? Because the customer isn't you. The customer is an insurance carrier. And I need you to understand why that one fact, who writes the check, is the entire moat of this business. Here's how money moves in most service businesses. Mr. and Mrs. Smith need their kitchen remodeled. They call 3 contractors. Each one comes out, measures, writes a bid, negotiates on price. Somebody loses. Somebody discounts. Everybody chases. That is not how restoration works. In restoration, Mrs. Smith wakes up at 2 in the morning with 6 inches of water in her basement. She doesn't call 3 companies. She calls the first one her insurance carrier refers her to, or the first one she sees on Google. And she wants that truck in her driveway in 60 minutes, not 3 business days. There is no pricing conversation. There is no, let me get another quote. There is, please just fix this, my wedding photos are floating. The restoration operator does the work, documents everything, submits the claim. And here's the sentence that is the entire moat of this industry. The insurance carrier pays the invoice, not the homeowner. Think about what that means. Think about how it's different from every other service business you've ever watched. No chasing discounts, no credit risk, no will they pay. Large publicly traded carriers, State Farm, Allstate, USAA, travelers wiring money into the operator's bank account on a schedule, because federal and state insurance law requires them to pay valid claims. The operator isn't selling. They're executing on work that is already paid for before they show up. That one structural feature changes everything. It changes how stable the business is. It changes how resistant it is to recession. Because insurance-funded demand does not care what the Fed does with interest rates. It changes how resistant it is to consumer confidence cycles, because nobody defers a burst pipe until they feel better about their 401k. And that brings us to the 3 proofs. I use a phrase to describe this industry: triple proof, recession proof, pandemic proof, AI proof. Let's walk through each one. Recession proof. In 2008, when half the real estate market evaporated and construction stopped, restoration revenue held. Why? Because pipes still froze, fires still started, storms still rolled through, insurance claims still paid out. ServPro, Belfor, every major in the category publicly reported continuing growth through that window. Needs-based demand doesn't know what the Dow is doing. Pandemic proof. In 2020 and 2021, when the rest of the service economy was on fire, restaurants closing, gyms closing, nobody flying, restoration demand went up. Restoration demand went up. People were home more, which means more leaks got noticed, more cooking fires happened. More humidity built up behind walls that then grew mold. Add biohazard and disinfection services on top, and restoration operators posted record years during a global pandemic that cratered almost every other small business category in America. AI proof, and this is the big one. This is the one nobody is talking about yet. It's good at reading documents, writing first drafts, summarizing meetings is cognitive work done at a screen. Restoration is physical work done on a family's worst day. In a flooded basement at 3 in the morning. In a burned out kitchen on Thanksgiving. In a moldy bedroom where a kid has asthma. AI is not going to wade through that water. AI is not going to hold that homeowner's hand. And one down, Borek. AI is not going to negotiate the claim with an adjuster who wants to lowball the coverage. AI is not going to teach a crew how to tear out drywall. The people with the trucks, the training, the certifications, and the insurance relationships, they are the moat. And that moat gets deeper every month that AI eats another white-collar job. Because every displaced knowledge worker is now looking for something to do. And the ones who figure this industry out first are going to own territories that never come back on the market. That's urgency. That's real urgency, not manufactured scarcity. The wave is here. The question is whether you're on the beach with a boogie board or on a roof. Head over to franchisewhisperer.us. Give me your zip code, let's check your territory, and get on a 20-minute call. Talk soon. Professionally starts routing more jobs to you. Reputation compounds. Marketing spend shrinks. Territory ownership deepens. If you are the kind of human who shows up for people on their worst day, this industry rewards that energy with money. If you cannot be the calm adult when somebody is crying in their own living room, this is not the franchise for you. People always ask me what the average franchisee does. Wrong question. What is the top 10% doing? Are you shooting for average? I don't care if you were a plumber, a contractor, or a Fortune 500 CEO. John, are you an average CEO? Take whoever you've been and push that forward into this franchise. That's your gauge. That's your bar. Per the 2026 FDD, Item 19, calendar year 2025, 31 of 46 operators reported a full year. These numbers are per operator, not per territory. Top 25%, 8 operators. Average revenue, $2,008,523. Median, $1,675,481. Average jobs, 6,989. Some outlets have earned this amount. Your individual results may differ. There is no assurance you'll earn as much. Year-end 2025, Item 20, 46 franchised outlets, 10 company-owned. The system is growing. The franchise fee starts at $49,000 for one territory, about 250,000 in population. Protected, exclusive. Multi-territory steps up, $86,500 for 2, $122,000 for 3, $164,000 for 4, $198,000 for 5, $228,000 for 6. Item 7 of the 2026 FDD, office and warehouse, $304,000 on the low end, $940,000 on the high end. Veterans get 15% off the initial franchise fee. Employees of the company get 25% conversion discount up to 50%. Written into Item 5, this brand is on the SBA franchise directory. And if you're still asking what the average guy does in the system, you're asking the wrong question. Per the 2026 FTD Item 19, calendar year 2025, the top 25% full-year operators averaged $2,008,523. Some outlets have earned this amount. Your individual results may differ. There is no assurance you'll earn as much. In 17 years of this work, I have not seen a more resilient model. Does a regular person actually pull this off? A lot of them are on camera, YouTube, LinkedIn, 1851, franchise. Look for the pattern. They arrived from outside the industry. The system took them from signed to operation. I want you to hear that from them. They were not shooting for average. Per the 2026 FDD Item 19, calendar year 2025, the top 25% averaged $2,008,523. Some outlets have earned this amount. Your individual results may differ. There is no assurance you'll earn as much. The president of this franchise is Bob Moore. Bob started his career at Domino's Pizza. Actual operating experience running units, not a consultant's resume. He became regional director at ServiceMaster Clean, which is the closest direct competitor brand in the restoration franchise space. So he knows what the best of the competition looks like from the inside. Then senior manager of field training for Dunkin' Brands, one of the most operationally rigorous franchise systems in America. Then he came into this company April 2019, vice president of operations. He spent 4 years inside the company before he ever sat in the president's chair. He learned the business from the inside, walked every department, watched the operating system from underneath before he was responsible for running it. In April of 2023, he was promoted to president, and in August of 2024, he became a member of the parent company. That last fact matters. Equity in the parent, he's not a hired gun pushing paper. He's an owner-operator on the hook for the outcome. When he tells a franchisee, we're going to get this fixed, he's financially aligned. Bob has been on Franchise U podcast. He's been interviewed on Franchise Euphoria with Josh Brown. He's a contributing voice in Restoration and Remediation magazine. Go listen to those episodes. If you're the right candidate, you're going to like how this guy talks. Calm, systems-oriented, no hype, deep respect for the candidate. Weeks 1 and 2, you get the full franchise disclosure document, all 23 items. Item 19, territory maps, calls with the development team, validation calls with existing franchisees, not 3 hand-picked ones. Top, middle, still and ramp. Have your attorney read the FDD. Have your CPA model it. Then, if you and they are both still in, you come to discovery day. That's the point of the day. This isn't for everyone. You are here to decide if you are buying this franchise. I want the ones who should be in. If you leave knowing it isn't you, we just saved you years. If you leave knowing it is, we go build it. 300 million jobs. 2/3 of U.S. occupations exposed. McKinsey followed with 12 million U.S. occupational shifts by 2030 and 30% of hours worked automatable. Then 2024 and 2025 happened, and the numbers didn't soften, they got sharper. Companies quietly cut middle management headcount. Customer service departments got replaced by tier 1 chatbots. And those copywriting agencies, they simply evaporated. Legal discovery work collapsed in firms that used to bill $1,200 an hour for it. The net employment picture across the economy is negative millions of jobs. Here's the part most people miss. When a white-collar worker loses a job to AI in 2026 or 2027, they don't just find another knowledge job. The entire category is compressing. The ladder they climbed is being pulled up behind them, rung by rung. And the honest answer, the answer I give when I sit with these people across the table, is that the durable careers of the next 20 years are going to be physical, relational, regulated, and hard to automate. Restoration? Restoration is actually all 4. Physical. You can't mop a basement from a server farm. Relational, insurance adjusters give work to operators they trust, not operators with the lowest API pricing. Regulated, IICRC certification, state contractor licensing, biohazard credentials. You can't prompt engineer your way into a restoration license. Hard to automate. Here's where I'm going to do the thing nobody else in this industry does on camera. I'm going to tell you who this is not for. On video. Before you spend another minute on it, this is not for you if you want passive income. This is an executive model business. You hire a GM, you build a crew. If you are looking for send me a check from a beach, this is not the franchise. I'll place you somewhere else, or I'll tell you to wait. You want to buy a franchise as a hobby? The capital at risk is real. If this is dinner party story money, do not do this. You are allergic to on-call logistics. Water losses happen at 2 in the morning. You are not the one wading through the water, your crew is. but you are the one answering the phone. You cannot handle emotional intensity, families in crisis, scared adults, sometimes angry adults. The operators who succeed in this business have a specific emotional steadiness. If you don't, tell me on our first call, and I will save you from yourself. Your household is not aligned. One-income households with a hesitant spouse I've watched that kill more franchise purchases than I can count. Both partners on board. This is for you if you're ready to make a move. Corporate, you can already feel the wave. You meet the financial profile this brand looks for. You can hire a GM. You want something your community needs. You can be decent with a homeowner on the worst day of her life. If even 3 of those sentences are you, click the link, DM me, ready. Visit franchisewhisperer.us. Imagine you a year from now, Sunday afternoon. The dread is gone. You own a protected territory in a business that does not care what a language model does in 2028. Are you the right candidate? You don't know until we do the work, so do that. Click the link, DM me, ready. I'm Scott Ferrari. This is the Franchise Whisperer. 17 years, over 1,000 placements. I sell exclusive. This has been the first real episode of the AI Armor series. See you on the call.